Hello and welcome to Atomic Facepalm. This is Chris.
And I'm Bree.
This is Atomic Facepalm Weekly, episode 15. Thanks everybody for tuning in. If you are new to the channel, you can hit subscribe or leave a comment below. We love hearing what you have to say. This week we're going to talk about a few games we've been playing. But we're not just going to talk about them. We're going to talk about them under one-act plays.
What is that? Are you asking what games I played this week?
Yeah. I am.
You sounded like it was more than just talking about the games there. You
tried to inflate it a little bit.
You did. Do you want to go first?
Sure. So I've been playing Quake 1. The idea was I was going to play it just a little bit.
And then I sucked
in. Kind of see if it was still good. As it turns out, it's still awesome. And I can't stop playing it. So I am halfway through the second episode. Mm-hmm. In Quake, there are, I think there's 3 episodes. My Quake knowledge is failing. Maybe 4 episodes. Shit.
You'll know soon.
There's more than 2. So, yeah. So in the way Quake works, it's very different than modern games. You can actually pick which episode you want to do first. So you could actually beat the 4th episode. I don't know why you'd want to do that. But you can. But I'm going through one at a time.
And do you get guns as you go along and get more stuff?
No, it's weird. So like you actually get everything except the lightning gun, which is like the all-powerful gun in this game. Mm-hmm. You go through the first episode, you get all the guns. And then when you beat the boss in the first episode, it sends you back to the beginning. It locks off like the first stage. So if you want to get the ending, you have to beat all of them. You can do them in any order. Mm. And then you go into the second area, and you start off with just your shotgun. So you start all the way over with nothing. And eventually you get the lightning gun. I haven't got it yet, though. So I'm playing on, like, other than Nightmare, which is, like, impossible, I'm playing on the hard difficulty. Mm-hmm. It's challenging, but I'm doing pretty well. So, again, I think for anyone that's wondering whether or not some of these retro games hold up, they absolutely do. They really do, especially Quake. And I think you'll probably see quite a few more people in games like Quake and Quake 2 now that Quake Champions is coming out. There's been kind of a resurgence of that brand, I feel like, and Quake Champions. Been a lot of criticism about that game. The NDA is lifted, by the way, so I can talk about that now. I should have put that in here. Yeah. Quake Champions is a good game. It's really a lot like Quake 1 as far as speed goes, and the gameplay where it's very arcadey and you can jump and strafe jump and gain momentum, and a pretty big focus on level design. But it takes more of like that Overwatch part where you have each hero has like a certain amount of health and stamina, and so
because they want you to buy the heroes, right? Because it's free to play, and then you purchase.
Yes. The good news is, unlike some other games out there, I think Quake Champions is doing it right. You can just pay $50 and get the whole game, and get everything. I mean, you can still, like, after you pay that $50, it's like Overwatch, you get loot crates, like literally the same damn thing as loot crates. They call them, I think, loot chests or something. It's like so.
Loot containers.
They even open like the same way. It's just like, they do like the whole explosion thing. It's pretty funny. But other than that, I mean, you can buy like, cosmetic gear and stuff or win it. But Quake Champions, from what I saw and played, is very true to the source material. And people are like, oh, it shouldn't be because, gotta adapt. And it's like, well, people still enjoy it. It's fun.
Yeah, I really have not heard good things about it.
It's
not
weird.
That I've heard super bad things either. It's just like nobody's really excited for it or something. I don't know.
I think I don't know what it is, but like people are just, it's not gonna be good. It's old, and they're trying to mismatch stuff. And no, I think it was fun. But Quake 1 still also great. And I just noticed, by the way, that the little Terminator figure is up on top of our Fallout sign. We have this game we play around the house where we have like a little Terminator endoskeleton. And we hide him in various spots. He's turned up in a coffee pot. He's been in the refrigerator, and now he's on top of our
freezer.
Fallout sign. Anyway, so yeah, a lot of Quake 1. Now I have a few more games I'd like to talk about. Let's go on to you for one game, and then we'll come back to me. What have you been playing?
I guess it's old game week, so I've been back to The Witcher 3. I think that was really all I played this week. A teeny bit of Dark Souls, but The Witcher 3 was really where I focused. And actually, I meant to play more than that last night, but then I got into it, and it was like really good little story thing that I just had to continue along with. But that game is really good at catching you up. So every time you start the game, it gives you like a brief synopsis of where you're at in the storyline, like the main storyline.
Every time you load it?
Yeah. So every time you come into it, it kind of tells you where you are and what you were doing. Not in a long way that's really, you can skip through it, or you can kind of be like, oh yeah, that's right. That's what I was doing before. Such a good game. It really is.
How far into it are you now?
I don't think I'm that far at all. Like a third, maybe, of the way. Plus, there's 2 expansions for it. So
2, huh?
Well, 2 DLCs
Wow.
kind of things. But one of them's bigger, one of them's smaller, and I don't know. I have both of those to go through too. But,
Can we talk about the weird, disturbing baby thing that comes alive and haunts you, or something?
a botchling?
Is that what it is? A botchling?
A botchling is when a lady has a miscarriage and they don't really name or take care of the baby. They just put it in, like, for example, I don't know if this is spoilers, whatever.
But it's a dead baby.
Yeah, it's
an undead baby.
It is an undead baby, so they buried it without even giving it any respects, and so it sometimes will come back as a botchling, which then he knew all about it, and The Witcher, because he's basically a medieval Ghostbuster, and so he'd go in and take care of the thing. So he helped him out by giving it a name. But first, you can choose to fight the botchling baby, or you can choose to be kind to it and give it a name and bury it and turn it into a nice spirit or whatever. But the baby was horrific looking. It was all slimy and purple and a giant big tongue. It's pretty gross.
Which one did you choose? Did you destroy it, or did you?
Well, the king guy wanted to keep the baby. He wanted to give it respect because he basically beat his wife and made her miscarry. Oh. Yeah, I was just like, wow. I know, I was just going to play a little bit, and then it became this whole thing, and then he's confessing what happened here, and so I ended up playing quite a bit of it.
Huh. I didn't realize they did a little recap. That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah, because I have not been, I played it maybe January, February, and then I stopped, and then I came back, and...
More games should do that, especially role-playing games where you come out for a little while, go back in. Be nice to get that. And
it's kind of an overwhelming game, just in how much the crafting in it is just too much for me, really. I try to dip into that and be like, all right, what do I need to get this done or this craft? And it's it's so much, and everywhere you go, every plant you can pick, everything you can do, it's just a little overwhelming. But the main game itself is so good. And it's so pretty. It's it's raining, and then the sun is shining, and the wind's blowing, and his hair is fabulous. It's the most beautiful game at all times.
It's gorgeous looking. I see it sometimes. I look over your shoulder, and it looks phenomenal.
And not only that, I'd say above and beyond, the UI is just really good at always telling you what's going on. You've got your hotkey kind of thing in the corner, but not in a batting you over the head kind of way. And I don't know, just the whole thing is very smooth and easy to manage.
That is not easy to pull off. I actually feel like HUDs and these types of action, I would call it maybe third-person action adventure. It's a role-playing game.
Yeah.
But definitely a lot of hack and slash. It looks like, this is just from my take on it.
A lot.
But getting the HUD right in those games can be tricky. And a game I'm going to talk about very soon does not do it very well, but it's an older game, so we'll give it a pass.
All right. So what do you want? You want to go for your game? I'm all done with Witcher. I don't know what else to say about Witcher 3. It's a good game. I don't know. I'm slow to play it, but...
So actually, before we go off that, you mentioned Gwent, I think, right? Is their next game that they're working on?
Well, they already released that, I think.
Did they really?
Maybe, or it's very close, or it is released.
Oh, okay. So I just, you mentioned that, I didn't know anything about it, and I kind of went and poked around. It looks like it's still the Witcher universe. Is that right?
Well, it's the card game, so that's part of the Witcher game, is this card game called Gwent. And so you can go up to a soldier and be like, hey, let's play Gwent, and I'll bet you. Another part that's how overwhelming this whole game is there's just the crafting, there's this Gwent thing that you can do all the time. I
did not realize that.
Do that. And so a lot of people realized that they liked just the Gwent part, this card game, and so they pulled that out and made it its own standalone kind of game, dedicated more. I do not know the difference between... I don't really play the card game. I'm having enough trouble finishing the game. I don't need a mini game.
You need a game inside a game.
I need a game inside the game to just, So, no, I don't know much about that, though.
I've heard people putting hundreds of hours into The Witcher 3, so
yeah,
it seems like a pretty intense game.
It is.
Okay, so let me go to mine real quick. And this is something I should do an impressions video on this because it's Dark Souls, the first Dark Souls. I have not played it ever before I started playing it maybe a week ago. Quite a few of my friends suggested I play it, and I was hesitant for a long time. I had my reasons for when I've heard that the original Dark Souls was a very social game, I guess. I don't know how much that really affects it. I guess I won't know because right now there's no one playing Dark Souls 1. But apparently there was this big thing where you could ask for help or they would come in and try and kill you, other players would do that. So I don't know if I'll get that component. But even without that, it's a really fun game. I will say I was very skeptical because again, it's old. I had some trouble getting it going. I ran it. It's not optimized for the PC.
It isn't
at all.
So I also played some Dark Souls because we were like, let's play Dark Souls. Let's get kind of finish up some of these older games that we never touched or whatever. It makes me sick, actually.
It's jittery.
It's jittery or something. There's something about when you go and when you're open and it's kind of an open top thing. I'm fine, but as soon as I was just watching you play, as soon as you duck down into those hallways, that's what makes me sick.
I feel like the camera controls are pretty weak on it. That was one of my complaints.
Yeah.
I discovered by accident if you press down the analog stick, it's like the right one, it actually centers it. But it's not like the camera doesn't move organically with you as you go around corners. You have to manually move it. Mm-hmm. It gets really, like seasicky or something.
So I actually enjoyed the little bit of the game that I played, but the sickness thing makes me kind of think that maybe I'll not do Dark Souls 1 and go to Dark Souls 3, because maybe some of that stuff has been worked out and it won't make me.
And that's the thing. A few of my friends also suggested playing Dark Souls 3 first, because there is that social element and because there's a lot of fixes.
Yeah. I might try that.
That's probably the better bet. I don't know. Like, we talked about it. I feel like I don't like just jumping into a series at the end of it.
I don't either, but it's got that same thing. I think it was Morrowind that had that same thing where just something about the camera was jittery enough that I just, after an hour, I was like, well, okay, that's enough of that.
Yeah, and it's a tough game. This is definitely going back to a time where it wasn't very hand-holdy. Mm-hmm. And it's not a hack and slash game when you hit guys, but every swing has to be precise and on target because it takes,
Your guys were slower, though, than mine. I started with a thief, and I felt like I wasn't that slow.
Okay.
Not in a way, like, when I played the Surge, I played that for just a little bit, and I was like, no, this is...
That's how I feel right now.
And I don't like that. I like to be the fast...
Yep.
Jump around behind the guy, and then stab him a bunch, and then jump around behind the other way.
And there are enemies, like you saw me actually get walloped by one of those guys. Maybe he was like an undead thief. He was like hitting me with like a bunch of slashes. Mm-hmm. But I like it a lot. You can kind of jump around. Even though I'm slow, I'm pretty evasive. Mm-hmm. So I can roll around, jump around.
Dark Souls roll.
Yeah. Is that a thing? Dark Souls roll? Yeah. It's fun. I modded the game quite a bit because it does not hold up well graphically, especially on the computer, because they locked it out at 720 resolution, which is awful. So even though you can go into the game menu, input 1920 by 1080 or whatever your resolution is, it still keeps it at 720. It's like, and From Software is very open. Like, we don't know how to port a game, but here's what we tried to do.
Yeah.
I hope it works. So I took quite a bit of time to mod it. A lot of the mods failed. I had to reinstall the mod, go back into the INI file and adjust some stuff. And now it works. And I gotta say, with the mods that are out, it looks pretty. It's still an old game, but it looks decent now. My resolution is where it should be. The texture packs look good.
Yeah, it looks all right. I have an issue with the giant 4-button menu thing that's always on the screen. It's like the 4 quick items that you can use. Like, why is that so fucking big?
Exactly. So that's part of my complaint. I think they didn't... From what I've heard on the consoles, that's not an issue. I think
it's not so big?
No. So I'm actually looking at a mod for that, but I didn't want to mod that until I could make the game be not crashy. Mm-hmm. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is do the UI mod. Apparently that one's pretty significant, and people have issues with it. So I'm going to go in there tentatively, but it needs an overhaul. The UI is terrible.
So that's the 2 games I played this week was Dark Souls 1 and then Witcher 3, and you go into Witcher, and that quick menu is just so elegant, and it's like...
Yep. I think, again, Dark Souls 3 fixes all of that.
It's also a much older game. I shouldn't compare those two, but...
Well, and this was way before a controller like that. It was the old, really the old Xbox controller, so they're kind of limited.
The 360 one, yeah.
I think it was 360.
Yeah.
So it's addicting as hell. It really is. It's like, it's that perfect amount of like challenging, but you can kind of push ahead a little bit. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of secrets, so you're always trying to like, do I go a little bit further, and then you get killed. I've died like 12 times.
It's just, you know what I like? It is hard, but it's not hard in an unfair way. They kind of are like, these are the rules, and this is how it goes, and then you push that boundary or not. It's kind of like playing zombie dice, or do I want to roll one more time and get a little bit more, or do I head back? And I get it. I understand that it's not hard in that way that makes me... recently we've talked a lot about games like where suddenly, you're playing along and it's this level, you're like, okay, yeah, you kind of shake the developer's hand, we're good. But this is what we've agreed
we have a verbal agreement
on this level of difficulty. And all of a sudden you'll get to this one part and it's just like suddenly they slap you across the face.
Yeah.
And I have a harder time with than just the consistently like,
yep,
this is the world and you know how to navigate it.
Yeah, and they actually established early on too, there are parts that you can go ahead, but they're way higher level than you, and then they just destroy you. So at first I was really frustrated because I was just going to this one path, and you go down there, and there's like these skeletons, and I could not beat them. They're so hard. And I was like, what is going on? But then I figured out, that's like a really like high level area. I'm not supposed to go there yet. And then I went the right way, and the guys are beatable. So I do like that they established that you can try and go out to those areas, but be aware it's high level. You're going to get crushed. So yeah, overall good game. I'll probably play through it. I think. It's a lot of fun. It's tough because we got a lot of games to play, but yeah, pretty good overall. I would say for anyone wanting to play it though, play it on the console if you can. I wouldn't recommend it on PC, even with the mods, just because the mods getting the work is so finicky. When they work, they're awesome and the game looks great, but it was a lot of headache to do that. So yeah, Dark Souls.
Finally. So
you mentioned Witcher, and you mentioned...
I really didn't play it. Last week I played like a ton of games, and this week I did not play that many games.
Okay.
At all. So that was it for me. It was old game week, and I actually need to find a game that we're going to review to play next. Because I've just been dicking around with old games for like no reason.
We both have. It's fun. It's the old comfort games.
No matter what, though, I'm going to finish The Witcher 3. That is my goal in life, to finish that in the next few weeks.
It's decent. I think it's doable.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah. I also played Tooth and Tail. Pretty fun game. It's an RTS game. Very cheap. Right now it's in closed beta on Steam, so unfortunately you can't get in. It's like the alpha. Actually, it might not even be beta. I think it might actually be alpha.
How'd you get into it? Are you allowed to be talking about it?
Yes, I can talk about it.
I didn't know that you had this weird thing. I didn't know that. I thought it was out or something.
I'm special, so I got in. I shouldn't talk about what... I'll just say I got into it. And it's fun to play. Now
I'm curious. I have no idea what.
So it's like a retro graphics RTS game, retro PC graphics. They made an RTS that's very much my style, which is dead simple as far as like getting into it goes. You can select a bunch of different. It's all based off like if you think of Redwall, like those old books where there's like mice and voles and badgers. Just replace the broadswords and shields with machine guns and World War I artillery. And that's like the concept of the game. You've got these bunch of crazy rodent countries fighting each other for food, and they have guns. It's really cool. So you have like this medieval landscape with windmills and farms, and you have like ferrets with like machine guns. It's a great concept. It's like the best elevator pitch. What's your game like? Ferrets with machine guns. Yes, do it.
Got it.
So
sold.
Yeah, and the idea is it's like the simplest stuff. You collect, you take control of a windmill, you build farms, the farms give you stuff that's like currency, you build units, you take them out, you kill the other team. Great! My style of RTS. What threw me off is you don't use your mouse to like, draw lines around your units like you would in StarCraft. You use WASD to move your guy around. You have one main character, he runs around, and he acts like a little beacon. So wherever he goes, you can like rally your troops and get them to go towards him, and then you can get near a unit. So basically, he's your mouse cursor. Really, it's just like your little main character is a fancy mouse cursor. Just brilliant, in my opinion. That's really cool. And I like that it actually works. So I used the gamepad, and I used the keyboard and mouse, and they both worked awesome. It's like, I have never seen an RTS game work that well between console and PC. Kudos to those guys. I don't remember who developed it. Sorry, I should know that, but I don't. But they did really good work. It's just a very fun, straightforward RTS game. And you can tell it has like a really high ceiling limit, like as far as the skill goes, but it's super easy to get into. So there's a lot of tactics. So you pick all sorts of different units. You select 5 to start with, but then you can kind of vary them up as you go through the game. So once it comes out, it's supposed to come out next month or two, I believe, maybe a little bit later. For people like me who like RTS games the old-fashioned way, but just get annihilated by the modern ones, it's perfect. Like I'd probably play that some more, honestly. It's just now that it's hard because it's just like I'm playing against people who are really good. So I got crushed by those guys, and so I started playing the bots. But the bots are, it's AI, so you can kind of exploit them. But no, pretty fun overall, gotta say.
Okay.
A+ for the theme and
Yeah.
Just badgers with claymores.
Well, I remember seeing it at PAX and being like, can we go play that game?
Damn it!
And you were like, I don't know, we got distracted with something else and we did not play it there. But
that sucks too.
It looks really good. Just the theme of it is very eye-catching.
You should try it out real quick. It's like, even if it's like, because the matches last 8 minutes no matter what.
Oh, okay.
So it's very much like get in, play game, get out. So
I like that.
Yeah, it's good. So yeah, that's what we've been playing this week. Mm-hmm. We're recording. Okay, now we're going to transition to the Game Factory.
I got nothing. I would normally be like, are you asking what games we played this week or something? But I don't know. So, are you talking about a game?
We are. We're going to highlight a certain game that we saw either on Kickstarter, Early Access, or just any other game. This week, it turns out to be Blasphemous. And it's very self-descriptive, as it turns out. Some game titles are abstract, and they don't really get to the point. This one gets right to the point. Literally, because your character wears a pointy hat. Probably my best pun I've ever had in my whole life. So, this is on Kickstarter. It has already been backed. When I actually wrote this little story, it was, I think, mid-last week, Wednesday. It had like $17,000 of a $30,000 goal, $50,000 goal. It now has $130,000. So apparently people are liking what they see.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about it on Twitter, so
yeah.
If it went that big of a jump. It looks cool. It looks really cool, actually.
It is, from what I can tell, and we're going to get into some detail here, but it's very much a 16-bit platformer with actual, would you believe it, handcrafted levels.
You hate the...
I don't hate though. I feel like it's becoming like the new, just everything. It's the trends. Randomize everything. Randomize our lives.
Roguelike.
Yeah, So finally, a game that actually takes some time and creates levels. And it's incredibly violent, which I very much approve of. It looks a lot like Castlevania Bloodlines, which came out in the Sega Genesis. Just brutal violence.
Yeah, when I saw it was just like blood was everywhere. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
There's one part where he holds up the head of like a bad guy and just lopping away his neck like 100 times. He finally cuts it off and throws the head at him. It's good stuff. So the whole idea, I'm going to go ahead and do a little story time with Uncle Chris here. We're going to read a little bit of the official verbiage from the developer. Set in the savage land of Orthodoxia, again, not really ones for subtlety here, Orthodoxia, a place where religion is the utmost importance in the eyes of the populace. Russia, superstition runs amok and churches outnumber people 2-1. You will find yourself in the hellish territory in the wake of the age of corruption. So yeah, basically it's Russia. Because we're going to talk about a new story which very much correlates to this game.
Oh, is that why you put these two together?
Yeah, I figured it was like a very good pairing. So, but talk about the game first, get in the news a little bit after. So, dark and brutal 2D non-linear platformer. So it's kind of like Symphony of the Night. You can definitely go back and forth. But again, can't emphasize non-randomized levels enough.
I know you really got this thing going.
I just want to play a handcrafted level. That's all. So more from the developers. You can vanquish bloodthirsty creatures, the devotees of a twisted religion, and it has handcrafted pixel art. It's an action game of the makers of The Last Door. Now, I am not familiar with The Last Door, so I really don't know what that entails. And I was too lazy to do the research. But, these guys look like they know what they're doing. Fast-paced, skilled combat, hack and slash, with a deep and evocative narrative core, delivered through exploration of a huge universe comprised of nonlinear levels. So really pointing out the nonlinear part, which to me is fine. I don't know. I mean, everything else looks okay. You can chain encounters to the right place, and you will unlock the Martyr's excommunication mode, becoming almost unstoppable. I have no idea what that means.
So that was kind of like you linked this game, and I looked at it, and a lot of it just is, okay, sounds good.
I think they're kind of overhyping it a little. I don't know if that's necessary. I think really it just looks like a cool, old-school, violent platformer with a very, very sharp satire on Catholicism, especially from the medieval times, basically. It looks like it just takes medieval Catholicism and, much like Warhammer 40K, because as we know, everything relates to Warhammer 40K in one way or another.
Or Quake.
Right, or Quake, yes. Sometimes they mix match the universes and then cool stuff happens. So you've got like flagellants who will literally, whip themselves and they can whip you. They've got like these 12-foot tall nuns with gold masks. There's like a cadabra holder, candelabra.
Candelabra.
That's cadabra. That's not even a word.
I was like, a what?
I think that's like a boot manufacturer.
Cadaver.
Cadaver.
Like a person
Yes,
holder or something.
That's what I meant to say.
Oh, that sounds
they
twisted.
have this giant candle and they stab you with a spear. So yeah, it's very bashing you over the head, quite literally, with the metaphors and religion there.
It looks cool though, and definitely is backed and all set. So
it looks popular, and again, I love these kind of games. Side scrollers like Dead Cells, good stuff. So
but
yeah.
you didn't play this week, right?
No, I didn't. I'd like to get back into it. I'm really feeling the Dark Souls Quake thing right now. And Dead Cells, again, it's early access, so.
Oh, okay. So there's no pressure there to.
No. And we talked about this. Like, it's okay to have bugs and stuff. It's early access, so it got to the point where I was hitting some bugs. Like, I'll just wait for it to come out, probably. Yeah. And then I don't know if your character is going to carry over. I imagine it won't. So that's my other concern. Is I don't want to put like 30 hours in Dead Cells and then just have that progress wipe. So I'm going to leave that until it comes out, and then I'll dive into it. But getting back to Dead Cells, now that you mention it, great game.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh, no, not at all. And this game, I don't think there's any sort of release or anything. Again, it just came on the Kickstarter, so who knows when it's going to come out. But it's coming out on like pretty much every platform, including Linux and the Switch even, which I found surprising. Like, I know that Nintendo has come a long ways with their non-violence, non-religious, but this seems like the anti-Switch game.
Blasphemous.
I think it's really pretty vile. So, okay. I mean, hey, we give Switch a lot of crap, but if they're going to let this game on there, it's something.
Did we give Switch a lot of crap?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that's like the royal we. Me. So it looks good. You can check it out. I think it's still on Kickstarter now. Just search for Blasphemous. And really,
there'll be a link down below if you're interested at all.
And it's all over the web right now. It's doing pretty well. So we talked about a transition. Going from that to another news story. And these really do go hand in hand. So we're going to switch over now. If I ain't seen it, it's news to me.
This is the news that we've had.
That's
for
right,
2
Bree.
weeks.
Actually, longer, I think.
I know we've had a lot of. We just haven't had time to get through everything, games and news stories that we want to talk about. So these have kind of been sitting here.
Yeah, and one of them is pretty much, we call it evergreen in the business, where you can just do a news story, you bank it, and you can do it whenever. One of these is pretty cool, but this one, actually, I'm kind of glad we waited on this one because there has been a little bit more progress on this story. So what happened is a Russian YouTuber was sentenced to 3.5 years for playing Pokemon Go in church. So
it wasn't like he was at church, right?
He was at church.
Oh, he was at church and he was playing it while they were doing their thing? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. For some reason, I thought it was like he came into the church because a lot of Pokestops are in churches.
From what I understand, from what I read, and there actually wasn't a lot of detail on the precise what happened, but my understanding is he went to a church that was having a service, sat down, opened up his smartphone, just recorded whatever he did with the smartphone recording software and captured a Pokemon, and sat there a little while longer and walked out and put it on YouTube. That was it. Like, no one at church even said anything. It was just that they put it on YouTube and the Russian authorities got a hold of it. So, being that it's Russia, I'm going to try and say this guy's name. I apologize. It's not going to be right. Ruslan Savlovsky. Savlovsky. Sure. He made a video of himself playing, as we talked about, in, God, these are so many Russian words here. In the he was in a church.
Yeah, the words that you're going to butcher.
He was accused of inciting racial hatred and was detained since October. And he's been awaiting trial. That's a long time. Like, holy shit. So the charges included violating religious feelings, the inciting hatred, which they just went over, and illegal possession of special technical means, a pen with a video camera. That's
right. They were trying to really get him on this pen thing.
Like, what the hell? I mean, Russia. So the judge said the videos manifested his disrespect for society and that he intended to offend religious sentiments.
Which I think is very hard to prove that he intended to offend, because nothing about what he was doing looked intentional to offend. He just was intending to get a Pokemon. He wasn't intending to offend anybody. So that's a pretty bold, let's throw that on there. You were intending to piss off everybody.
Yeah, how dare you go into a church and use your smartphone? So I didn't even realize in Russia that was illegal. I know they have some weird laws over there, but wow. So when I first wrote this article down, he was actually he was sentenced, and no one knew if he was going to do the time, if he was going to go to jail. But it turns out this got a lot of coverage, and they ended up being 3.5 years of probation, not jail time. So pretty scary, honestly. I mean, and again, you can probably see how this relates to the game we just showcased. So yeah, I know Russia has their issues. I didn't realize they were going back to medieval times as far as their basically state religion. It sounds like.
Yeah.
And they didn't say which religion it was. It sounds like it was Catholic because the name of the church was an All Saints church. So I'm going to presume that it's something along those lines. But wow, guys. So I'm glad he's not doing time, but just the fact that he was held since October.
I think it's one of those things where probation, if he does do anything wrong on there, then they double his sentence and he goes straight to jail or something, right?
Yeah. So, great.
Don't play Pokemon or go near churches.
Yeah. So it's pretty sad, honestly.
It does suck, because it's just some kid trying to do a stupid hobby thing, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, the whole life sucks.
I just love, and America's very guilty of this too, where you have Russia invading other countries and slaughtering civilians, and instead of maybe turning an eye to that, they prosecute some kid playing Pokemon Go in a church. Mm-hmm. Modern society. Good stuff. But then, a little more of a lighthearted news story compared to that one.
It is kind of depressing.
It really is. It's not, I'm smiling, but it's more I'm smiling because I'm dying on the inside. It's terrible. Russia. Eugh. I don't know. Hopefully we don't go that route. But.
Right? Looks like maybe, really hope we don't go that route.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Know. Okay. Anyways.
Yeah, so a little more upbeat here. We have 10 awesome uses of the Konami code. Hey, Bree, what's the Konami code?
Oh, is this a test?
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Really?
No, it's left, down, left, right, down, up.
It was close.
Fuck.
Up, down, left, right, VA, start.
You fucking special.
So, here's the thing. I can remember stupid shit like that, but I can't remember, the really important stuff. I don't know how old I am.
How to pronounce candelabra.
Right. How to pronounce anything Russian. I can remember that 777-807-3454 is how do you get to Piston Honda and Mike Tyson's Punch-Out in the Nintendo Entertainment System. But I can't remember what year I was born. I think it was 79.
It was.
Anyway. So yeah. So here we go.
I should have just read it. You had it right here. God damn.
I didn't even notice that. So, as reported by Kotaku, there are numerous ways this little code is seeped into modern society through stuff, not just games, but everything else. So we're going to kind of go through this. So why don't we do this? I'll read one, and you'll read one, and we'll kind of go back and forth.
Sure.
All right. So the first one is in Rocket League's title screen. If you enter the code, it will cause the menu to change to the logo for its lesser-known predecessor, supersonic, acrobatic, rocket-powered battle cars.
Oh my god, I wish that was the way.
I know, right?
What are you playing? Just hold on a second, let me get this all out.
I'm playing supersonic, acrobatic, rocket-powered battle cars. I really wish they'd kept that name. Anyway.
So on the Game Boy Advance version of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, it lets you unlock your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
I don't know how it relates to Spider-Man, but it's still kind of cool. I always knew you could play Spider-Man in that game. I know nothing about that game, except that I remember seeing people playing Spider-Man.
Yeah. That's right, because you didn't play any of the Tony Hawk. I played one of them, a lot, and then I was like, that's enough. I got my fill on the skateboarding game thing. I'm good.
Did you play as Spider-Man?
I kind of remember. I definitely remember one map, and that's about it from that game. And being pretty terrible at it.
Yeah. I don't know if I necessarily missed it. It sounds like kind of a game I'd play a few times, but yeah, it's good. Mm-hmm. Okay, so for Boktai, the sun is in your hand, you put in the code to summon a hidden chest. That's pretty weak, actually.
But what is Boktai, the sun is in your hand?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I think it's some Western game or Eastern game. It's West. See, I don't know East and West. But 77807-3454 will get you to Piston Honda. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
What the crap are you talking about?
North? Yeah.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Burst your character into a shiny pile of gold coins.
I actually don't think you can play that game anymore. Unless you already have it. I don't think it's sold. They stopped.
Really?
Yeah.
It's actually one. I've never played the game, but I love that movie.
That's pretty... Yeah, the movie's great.
One of my top 10.
And that's actually pretty cool. It exploded in gold coins. So, hilariously, in Gradius 3, which was produced by Konami, the same people who made Contra, where this whole thing started, if you put the code into that game, you just die.
That's awesome.
Which is pretty funny. Yeah, try in this game.
This one's good. All right, Bank of Canada websites. New $10 banknote, confetti, and playing the Canadian national anthem.
It's like, man, why can't we just be Canada? They're so cool. They put like a Konami code into like their official banking site. It's so awesome. Well, in Ninja Turtles games, so these were pretty popular growing up. There's a lot of games here shipped Nintendo and Nintendo. So if you put that code into there, you would get a crap ton of extra lives. And I actually played a lot of Ninja Turtles games when I was a kid. Turtles in Time, Manhattan Project. The arcade game was amazing. I remember playing that, like actually walking in the winter up to the Mountain Road Market, and we would sink just tons of quarters. It was so much fun.
So Zone of Enders 2, the second runner, boss fight against Vic Viper, will send the game into Soradress? Soradress. It's a 3D take on Gradius.
So the Vic Viper is like the ship, the name of the ship in Gradius.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what Zone of Enders 2 is. I have heard of it before.
I think Zone of Enders just 1. I don't know about 2. It's like a mech kind of guys.
Yeah.
Like really ninja looking. They look like Eldar.
Oh.
Kind of,
Yeah,
right?
nothing. Interesting.
Maybe?
That sounds cool, though. I kind of maybe should check that one out, actually. But then you also can sneak up on a turkey at your home. If you put in the Konami code in Assassin's Creed, it puts an Assassin's hood on the turkey. Just, something. Assassin's Creed did one thing right. Not the movie.
Do you hate Assassin's Creed?
No, there's just so many of them. It's like Call of Duty, where there's like 1,000 Assassin's Creeds.
You just have some strong opinions I didn't know about until
it's just
today.
like my opinion, man.
And Contra, 30 lives. The game is now possible.
Yeah, because if you don't use that, it is impossible. It's 3 lives in Contra. Like, trying to get through that whole game, and you can get like a bonus life for, getting a high score or whatever. But no. Even with the 30 lives, there were times where we almost didn't beat it. So... yeah, there you go. A lot of use for the Konami code. Good stuff. And I think Bree is actually Googling a certain game.
The Zone of Enders. I was trying
really
it wasn't the game that I thought of. It is the game I thought.
It looks like Gundam.
Yeah, but like more, I don't know. They look more agile or something. I don't know.
Yeah, kind of looks like Transformers, honestly. Anywho, that is going to do it for us this week. We do appreciate you guys tuning in and giving us a watch. Reminder, you can always hit subscribe, leave a comment to say hi. But until next week, I'm Chris.
I'm Bree.
Thank you. Good luck.
Have fun.